So we want to pull out some data that is there as a part of some of the websites, and let's say we want to gather that data either in the form of a table or sometimes in the form of different kinds of formats as such. Now, to do that, we'll take a few examples where we can do that. Obviously, if I have to create a kind of a link to a website, right, virtually get that site opened and get the response, we use a package or a library called requests. And within that request library, we use a function also called request.get. Get function will give us the response associated with that particular URL. And PS4 is a library that contains information with respect to a library called Beautiful Soup, with respect to an important function called Beautiful Soup. If you really look at what this Beautiful Soup looks at, so it is a kind of a data structure. You just like a data frame, just like a link, just like an array, just like a panda series, just like a numpy array, etc. Beautiful soup is also a kind of a data structure. Now, what does that data structure contain? It contains a parsed HTML or XML document. Parsed is, the tags are already associated. There are some tags that are associated with the HTML document. There are some tags that are associated with the XML document. So it will understand those tags and it will typically pull out the values that are lying within those tags. So that is what is like a parsed HTML. So it can read that HTML document and it will omit all those tags and all, and it will retain only the values that are contained within those tags. Most of the methods that you will call on a beautiful soup object. So once you create a beautiful soup object, you can write a lot of methods for extracting various things. So basically, probably if you want to get all the links, or let's say you want to get all the text, or you want to get all the headings, etc., you can very well get on them, right? So whatever is there in terms of that page, so various tags or various attributes, various links, various references, those all something you can very well extract. Now that is what, once you keep getting comfortable with the usage of the various functions as a part of the beautiful soup object, you would get more and more details into it. So that is where you will first import this beautiful soup, and then you will also import the request, because initially you have to make a connection to that particular website. Let's say I want to know this IMDb chart top 250 items that are there. Top 250 is a kind of a page. They have a website where they have displayed the top 250 movies, right? So I want to get all that probably into some kind of a format, right? Now what do? Initially, once I get the request, whatever the source, right? I get now. If you look at this source, we'll print item by item so that we can understand what is happening, right? When you are getting the source, you would typically, right now, this source, you can actually print the text associated with the source. So when you are making, now you see the entire HTML document is actually coming out with this kind of a mechanism, right? So you see there are some blanks. Slash n is always like a new line. Then document type is HTML document. So the HTML tag has started here, right? Then there is some kind of a definition. Then we have a head where the heading part of it has started. So probably you could see that there is a lot more here. So this is the typical HTML document associated with that particular page, right? There are so many things that we are seeing on this page, and this is the typical HTML document associated with this page. Somewhere I was able to see. You see here 273,676 user ratings, right? There is a movie called Dance with Wolves, right? So you could see that within the various codes inside, various tags inside, the entire page that is displayed to us, the source code of that page is typically displayed. Now, if I have to really show you that source code, you can very well go on to, right? You can yeah. So this is the entire source code associated with that page. Now, probably if you really click on this link also, you click on this link also, you will go to the same page. Probably you do an inspect, right? When you do an inspect, logically speaking, you are going to the same page. You see HTML, doc type HTML, HTML, XML, NS. So that is what we have seen here also. Doc type HTML. So this is probably this is looking more in a sophisticated format, right? With colors and all that stuff in a kind of arranged kind of a format is what you could see. Whereas when you are taking here, it is not that structured. It is just giving it like some random text, right? So that is what we do is we will actually pass that information to a beautiful soup. So once you pass that information to a beautiful soup, you will typically get it more in a kind of a formatted mechanism based on the HTML parser. So if I try to print this soup, you could see that this soup is, you see, it has actually created a kind of a structured mechanism, right? It has created a kind of a structured mechanism there. Now, what do you do as the next thing, right? So this is the entire thing, which is the whole website, which it has put it in a kind of a structured format. Okay, the same thing, probably in a more structured format. All right. So let's say now my next step is within this, I want to find out, right? I want to find out the list of the movies. So it's better that I start exploring the structure. So the title of this page is Top 250 Movies and so on. So better go into the body of this document. So or you can, what you can do, you can just look at the first name. This one, right? We want to see where exactly it is. So you can come in here and you can search for it. Now you could clearly see here, right? This is the typical location where it is coming up. Now, if I really understand the structure, this can actually help me if I am able to understand the structure. So this is where my overall body is, the table body is actually starting here. And within this, I have my rows, and within this, I have my column. And probably I'm having the spans are more and more like my dynamic rows. So you could clearly see these are the various elements that are typically being present. So what we say is initially from the top, because head is over here, the table head is actually over here. The table head started here. The table head completed here. The table body is starting here. So what we say, I will first fetch for this table body. So I'm saying here in the soup, I'm finding what is called as a table body. And not all table bodies. The table body which is having class name as lister hyphen list. So which means I will come here. So it will. So when I say in that soup, find this tag T body, which is having a class of lister list. So this is the table body that is having a class of lister list. Now within that class, find all TRs, means all the rows, table rows. Find all the rows. So basically, this is one TR. If you see here, this TR started here and it will end somewhere. Right. Let me see where it is ending. Now this TR is ending here. So this entire thing is about the first row of data. This entire thing is about the first row of data. Right. So the first row of data contains the name. Now let us see what all are there. So here you talk about one dot, the Shawshank Redemption. So one dot. Probably you should see the one dot. You see here, there is a one dot. Then you are seeing the name of the movie. So you see here, this is a part of one column. TD and TD is a part of one column. So one dot Shashank Redemption. Then there should be 1994. Let us see where is that 1994 now. There is that 1994. You see here, the name of the movie is within this A, but the year of the movie is within this class called secondary info. So the class called secondary info is actually containing the year of the movie. Then if I really want the stars, 9.2 rating kind of thing. Exactly in a kind of a TD called rating column IMDb rating. That is the name of the class. Rating column IMDb rating. rating. So within that, it is mentioning 9.2 is the this thing based on 2,722,273. So basically, here you could see 9.2 is the rating. So you could clearly see that different information is present in different. So like that, for every column you will have for every row you will have a similar. Now you see two dot. The name of the movie is The Godfather. The secondary info is showing 1972. Then it is 9.2 based on 1.892036 million. The value is 9.2. So you are seeing different values, one for each row. So that's where what we say, first extract all the rows, find all TR. So now what is that we are saying? So basically if I execute this line, I will get 250 different items because we are finding all the TRs. Obviously 250 such kind of TRs would have been there. So in the next step, I am simply printing that. Right? I am saying the length of the movies. Obviously, length is number of such objects that have come. So the output has come that the number of movies in the data set is 250. So now I am trying to print serial number, the name of the movie, probably put a kind of comma, the year and the rating. Now how do I get them? Let's look at that. So there are 250 movies which are a part of each movie is a part of one TR. So what do I do there? First, I will get my TD. Let's look at the structure again. Right? Now we will look at, I have already highlighted it somewhere, right? Now let's look at this. I'll go from this TR. So TR2 hash TR is our total data. Now within this TR, right, if you really look at, this is the data where my title is present. So I am taking TD. TD is what I am taking, which is having a class as title column. The TD is having a class called, so I am finding TD, which is having a class called title column. Now, so this is for each row that I am doing the same thing. So I am getting the name of the movie.find. So I am finding for TD, which is having a title class called title column. So which means this is the class. So basically now I am narrowed down to this TD class to TD. Now within this, now I am referring to another tag called A. I am looking for another tag called A, and this is the text corresponding to A. So that is where I am using the word called A.text. So this will give me the name of the movie. So if you are, once it is a beautiful soup, then you can actually start doing this kind of an exercise, right? Then similarly, now how do I get the rating for the movie? Now again you see within the title column itself, so you want to get you want to get the rating for the movie. So you can very well get. So you are getting the text. So probably let's say you want to go into the year. You take again TD. Now if I was, so basically here within the title column, you are having a secondary info. Within the title column, you are having a secondary info. and that is what is giving you the year. So what is that we are saying within the span? Now here the secondary info is there as a part of the span. So you will say find span, or you can simply say because there is only one span. If there are multiple spans, again you may have to. So we are actually going into details into this. So we are taking the text and we are doing a kind of a split. Stripping off the open bracket and the closing bracket so that I will get the year. So you see the kind of operation that we are doing, right? You can look at the kind of operations that we are doing. Similarly, if you want to go for right, and even if you are going for the rank of the movie, which is that 1 dot 2 dot kind of stuff. So you go to the title column, right? We are going to this title column. I'm not going into A here. So I'm directly getting the text of this title column, which will give me 1 dot. Now from that 1 dot, I'm stripping, I'm splitting based on the dot. So 1 dot, I'm splitting the data based on the dot. You see how many applications you have to bring in here. And so it will become before the dot 1, after the dot it's a space. So I collect the 0th element, which is the 1. So that's how I will get my rank. You have to plan how do I really extract that data. Then the rating. So where is the rating now? Let's see. The rating right now is here. 9.2. So where do I go here? Probably I will not get into now I will go into a TD called rating column, IMDb rating, right? Within that, I'll go into strong and I'll get the text corresponding to that strong. That is where I'm having my 9.2. You see here, TD class is rating column IMDb rating. I'm going into strong. I'm getting the text corresponding to the strong. And probably I have all these things. I can very well either print them, right? Or probably I can actually format them into a kind of a data frame. And I can do all those things because now I am able to extract all those values. Once I am able to extract them, I can very well put them. Right now here I have simply printed them, but otherwise I can very well take the either way. Now I can also think of getting how many ratings are given. Just think about it. How many ratings are given? So I can very well get the title, right? For the strong, I can get the attribute title. And on that, I can strip the words based on user ratings, right? Probably I can very well split it based on, so initially I can split based on and I'll take the first part of it. This will be the 0th part. So I will look at the first part of it and then I would strip the user ratings from where I'll end up with 2,722,000 or 2,722,273. So you just need to see in what kind of a structure the data is typically coming in, and you have to extract that structure and typically get your value. So that is how sometimes it is very easy to look at such a kind of pattern, whereas in some cases it might become more and more difficult as well. So I hope in this example things are looking very clear for you, right? You would initially look for a search, and based on that you would capture an appropriate starting point where all these values are typically lying, and that is how you would typically initiate your entire process. So sometimes it is easy for you to really get through that node and then see how each of the rows are typically. So in these kind of sets where data is present more in this kind of a format, it is it is very easier to get those results. So there could be a few other. I don't know what is this. Probably Frank Darabont, Tim Robbins. I don't know whether they are the cast or they are the director or something. But if required, even these things can very well be extracted, right? And probably you could also see. So I don't know. The Francis Ford Coppola is the director, possibly. Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, they could be the cast, right? And these are the ratings. All these things can very well be extracted. All right. So just for a simple example, let's say I want to get the strong, TD strong, and if I want to get this, so this is not the text. Anything that is outside the tags will be the text. Anything within the tags is typically the attribute. So if I want some attribute, let me try. I should put a ampersand or something. So I say number of ratings, right? So I'll go for up to here. I'll still remain the same. So here, instead of getting the text, okay, if I put an ampersand, it will give me the. I'm just trying to put. So if I have to look at the attribute, I'll just look at it. Yeah, you see, I'm able to get this part. Right now, I'm getting the title, whatever is there within the strong. The title is giving me 9.2 based on the 2722 user ratings. Now, what do I want to do? I want to go step by step, right? So, whatever the text that I have got, now I would strip, right? Probably whatever I have got, first I will split. So you see, you can use any logic. I will split based on, you see here 9.2 based on. So probably I'll split based on n, n as a character. I'll split based on n as a character, and I will take the first part of it. You see how it comes. Okay, it has actually did, that's okay. So you see it has actually splitted based on the character called n, and based on that you see it has taken only the second part, 2722 user ratty. That is what it has done. So what is that I can do now? Again, if required, I can split, right? I can or I can strip now. I can strip. What is the text that I can strip? I will strip this text called, right from here, I will strip. I don't want this text. Now you see, step by step. I mean, no one can write the. So you see, now I got a very clear. I got a very clear cut specification where I could see now this is the Godfather 1972, 9.2 is the rating, and finally I have got these many reviews. The 9.2 is the rating based on these many reviews. So I can also use number of reviews. So now this is how you would typically, once you know how to explore it, that's the reason I have intentionally added some additional. Now you need to know how to do it on a broader note, right? Probably the same thing now once you have captured it, you can actually take it even to a kind of a data frame as well, right? You can actually create all of them. So probably you can actually create a kind of a list here, and you can append. So you can very well now probably if I have to include, I would create a kind of a blank, right? Probably I'll create a rank. I'll create year as a blank, rating as a blank. So you see how much you can improve once you know some of the dimensions. You can very well. So now I can very well say name dot append. So probably this is making it more sophisticated. Agreed? Let us see if this works or not. Okay, so I'll not do a simple printing. So I'll simply call movie ratings is equal to PD dot okay, some okay, there is the capital. So in different languages, you have different problems. Okay, something did not go well. Let us see which ones did not go well. Probably the name. Your names have come out fine. The rank also came out very much fine. Probably what happened to the year here is also a list of 250. Rating is a list of 250. And a numrat is also a list of 250. So we are actually combining all the lists. Now you see, I got my movie ratings. And probably now, if you look at movie ratings, it's in a very, you can export it to Excel, or you can do whatever you want. Right now, I get the movie ratings. It comes in a very well formatted kind of a mechanism. Right? You could clearly see that these are the various values that have come. Right? You can take the transpose depending on how you are really looking at. Right? You can get it in the form of a kind of a data frame as well. Right. So that is how I could say probably you can, I mean, once you have the reason why I spent some time on this is once you have such a kind of data which can be scrapable, you can focus on probably extracting it to whatever extent possible. Now, another example, this is also a books kind of a data. I want to talk about here multiple pages. Right here, you have just used one page, and based on that page, you have extracted the data that is present on that page. Now, the good thing is, even if you had simply copied this one, you would not have got how many You would not have got how many reviews are there corresponding to each one of them, right? That 1.8 million, etc. That was not there on the page, it was not displayed. But internally, as a part of its structure, I was able to see that. And based on that, I was able to extract it. So sometimes, probably there are lots of such information. You should try with Wikipedia pages. There are so many such kind of contents that are there on the Wikipedia pages, so many such kind of tables that are there. So you may want to extract them and after that use them for your own analysis. Right. So that is one advantage that you can think of. If there are any queries on this aspect, let's look at it. But I will take one more example to make things more clear. Now, this is something that you will find in some of the sites. I'm talking about something in the URL where you will find page 1, page 2. Probably if you go to page 2 here, there are some more sets of books. Probably you go to page 50, you have some more set, right? And probably you go with a page 51 may not contain any. So it goes into an error. But at least up to 50 books, I mean up to 1000, I have the numbers just running like this. Now even this I can actually put into a kind of loop. So I can scrape all rather than doing next when I'm going. So not necessary that all the books contain something like this, right? Probably let's say I'm looking at some books. This is a complete catalog of books. Okay. So now what I'm doing here. So I'm setting my URL again. So first thing, always make a get request. So get will actually first. So initially I'm starting off with the first page, but after that I will dynamically put that into a loop. So what do? We get the URL, right? So this response comes. So we are typically passing the text of this. So if you remember, passing the content of this, passing the text of it to the beautiful soup here. So let me run this part. Now let us see what is the soup again. Better you print your soup because that will give you the structure. Now you see this is the scoop. This is the format. Okay. Now I'll go into the body. So my head is over here. My body is starting here. Now what do? First look out for what is that. So the first book is called A Light in the. So let us see where exactly it is coming up. So this is where a light in the is coming up. Now I could typically see so the actual content, right? A light in the, look at where exactly it is present. Now this is actually not the content. This is the image for that book, right? It's an image alter. So the actual content is this one, a light in the. So which is present as a part of my heading 3, right? And so the heading 3 is actually containing. So basically I can start with OL. OL is a kind of a structure that is the kind of ordered list. So there is an ordering of the list that is happening. And this OL is actually containing, now if you look at that, I mean, for that a little bit of understanding of the overall structure is required. OL is an ordered list, and within that ordered list you have the list LI. Now you could see that the LI has started here and LI has ended here. So this is what is my first product, right? So when I look at this first product, now you can see what all are there regarding that product. You could see the class is P as a class, star rating 3. So you can very well, if you want that rating, you can very well get that. And the title, you could critically see here a light in the dash dash. But in the actual title, the full name is typically being shown. And this is where the price is being shown, right? These are some of the things that are there. Tipping the Velvet is the name of the title. So once I know that this is the structure, now you see I first get OL. OL is the broad structure under which all the lists are there, right? Under which all the lists are there. Now I am looking for within that OL, I have LI. I also have the article. The article is the typical product, and the article is having a class called product underscore pod. So I will search for that article class underscore pod, product underscore pod. So within that, I am getting all the details corresponding to that. But now I have to extract from that, right? I am getting that. So which means for each one, I'll get that article, right? So I'm getting all the articles. So for each article, now what is that I'm going to look at? I need the complete title, right? So what is that I should do within that article? Let's see, where do I go to get my content? So within that article, now within this article, look at it here. Within this article, now I go into the, if I really need the title, I can very well get H3. I can go to this H3 and I can get the title. And if I am really looking at the price, I can go to this P and the text of it, I'll get the price. So what did I do here? For each of the article, I am getting the article, I'm finding the IMG, which is the image, and I'm for that I'm getting the alt because the title is there also. So you see here, I'm looking at the IMG. I can do that, or I can also look at H3 and the title. Either way, I can do it. Right? I don't need to go with IMG. If you see here, I don't need to go with the ING. I can also very well go with H3. And I can get the title of that H3. So there also you find the name of that book. So the title I can very well get in 2 or 3 ways because at 2 or 3 locations the title is present. Now similarly, I want to get how many stars are there for that. So that is where I'm getting for a P. I'm looking for a P class. P class, there is only one inside. So within this P, I can get what is I'm getting the star rating. So based on that, I can very well find out what is the number of stars for that book. So if I really see here, I'm getting the article dot find P, and out of that, so for that I'm getting the class. So in the P, I'm taking the class, and in that class there are two different texts that are there. So one is called star rating and the second one is a 4. So I'm more taking that second one. That's where I put a subset of 1. So I will get FOUR. So I'll get the stars here as 4. And I could also now I want to find the price. So again I'm looking at the P, right? And within that P, now I am looking for a class called, within that P, I'm talking about a price called, or a class called price color. So I will look for that one and then take the text of that. I'll look at the P, which is having a class called price color. I'll take the text of that. So I'm going to get the price. I'm converting that price into a floating rather than as a string. So I'm getting all of them appended. So I'm putting them, these three, in the form of this thing. So a light in the attic, 3 is the rating, 51.77 is the price. And that activity is done for all the 1,000 books. So because I have looped it, you see here, I have simply taken the URLs, I just put it as a kind of a variable here. The URL, I have put it as a kind of a variable. For each URL, I am getting the request, I am getting the content, passing it to a beautiful soup, and in each page I am getting the OL, which is the ordered list, finding the articles, and within each article doing this in a loop format. You could see I have got the list of all the books, right? Probably just like the way we did earlier, I can very well format all these things into a data frame by externalizing them as a data frame and finally get a data frame as well. So you could see that, and probably if I want any of the books or something, you can very well go ahead. So in some cases, so basically you may have to practice it, and obviously even in spite of any amount of practice also, right, it may take a lot of time. Sometimes it is much easier. Sometimes it may take a lot of time to really extend the scenario, to really solve the problem. But definitely, whatever is the difficulty that goes in, we may want to extract the data in this kind of a format. What is the nature of the scrapped data output? You can take it to whatever way you want, right? What is the nature means what? I did not get your question. Nature. No, I mean, once you create it, you can create just like the problem we tried earlier, right? So I had something like this of a data frame. Now this data frame, I can very well export it as a CSV. You export it in whatever way you want. See, it is just that it's a Python object. Now that Python object, you can very well export it to Excel. You can very well put it into a database. You can very well You can write 2. So these are all writing, right? So anything like 2 dot underscore 2, right? 2 dot 2 underscore CSV. So probably you can say dot 2 underscore. So you can write 2, say 2 underscore CSV, 2 underscore Excel. I don't know what are all the other formats. 2, you can create it to NumPy. You can store it as an object. Another Python object. You can write it to SQL. You can write it to Stata. So these are some of the formats that are you can very well export this data frame to, because at the end of the day it became a data frame. So many a times what could very well happen is sometimes you may not be able to directly see. Many a times what people do is they will not display. Now if you see this images in this kind of a format, you don't know if you want to do some kind of comparisons, etc. You may want all of them to be at one place, and probably not like the ratings and all are different. So probably you may want to bring all of them into a kind of a table, so that some kind of comparisons can be done. I hope you are getting it. So in some cases it becomes more easier. In some cases it becomes more difficult. You may have to just take some kind of practice. My intention is to just to give an initial overview here, but because we have many modules, especially when a lot of complex XML structures or HTML structures are there. So in those cases, it becomes slightly more difficult to scrap. Or in some cases, you may want to go into the aspect of, okay, once you go there, you click on it, right? And once the new page opens up, so in this page, get some details, get let's say the product information, then again go back, then click on that extent as well, right? So you go here, probably if there is some more information, take, let's say I want what is this UPC, or how many units are available, something, which are not there in the earlier case. I want to extract that. Probably I should be able to do that. So that happens through the another library called Selenium. Now that goes into more and more extreme or advanced levels of scrapping, which I am not considering as a part of this session. But yeah, I just wanted to give a brief overview. Probably the same thing can be tried with Amazon as well. Right, one more example which I thought, and probably all of you may be interested in also. The same thing you may want to go and do with Amazon related data as well. Right, let's say I'm looking at one book. So again, same thing you can do with multiple. Here I am going with a book which is your machine learning book. So this is the ID. The web page for the machine learning book. No, I mean, if you are not able to scrap the data from that side, better leave it. Right? If you, it's not advisable. Right? If it does not, if it is having, if it has already set robots.txt to be disallowed. So there is no way, right? Because the HTMLs and all cannot be accessible. So if you look at the inspector, so once you typically do that beautiful soup, right? Once you do that beautiful soup, whatever is the structure that you get for your HTML output that is going to be published, so only based on that you will be able to scrape it. Now, even if I do this, let's say I want to get the price of this, right? Or probably I want to look at some product related details, something about it, right? Or so probably if I really want, so if I really want to click on this, get the details relating to this, then I have to go with the Selenium. I cannot directly get, but whatever is displayed on this page, I can very well think of getting. So if I quickly look at it, right? So I'm sometimes, so yeah, sometimes what would happen is you may have to even set your headers because not every browser will be able to access. So sometimes these are some of the default headers that we generally see. You can pull out this information from anywhere. So you can very well do the requesting of the URL using those headers because not all browsers will be able to scrape that kind of a data. So then again, after that, the process is, so in case you are getting a problem, you can very well use the help of the header. Now I can very well do the beautiful soup, and if required, we can prettify it also. There is one more step. Prettifying it is nothing but that also comes with a kind of a indentation as well. The same beautiful soup, the soup will come out with a kind of an indentation as well. Now, if you really look at this soup too for this page, now you see it did not. Now, if you really look at here, some part of it is clearly structured, right? Whereas some part of it is not structured because it's not coming in the form of a proper HTML. Okay, so whatever is there as a part of proper HTML that has been structured well, and probably there are a few more dynamic stuff which are not properly because it is using various other. So because we have used only a HTML parser here, whatever is typically convertible into I mean whatever is like all these divs etc which are associated with HTML, they could be updated. Now, what is that I'm more interested in? Let me see where exactly this is coming up. And so on machine learning with this. So this is where, no, not, I'm not interested in here. I'm interested in the code. Yeah. So this is the code where this is typically coming up. Now, if you really look at where exactly this one is coming, right? So either, so here you have your unordered list, and so you could clearly see here, okay, there are a few more places, so you can very well find out. Let us see the ID. I think this is there at a couple of more locations. Yeah. So you see here, this is one place, ID, this TP. So I'm searching for this ID called product title. So let us see how many are there with that kind of a name. There is only one ID called product title. So whatever is there as a text associated with that, I'm printing because it is there at multiple such kind of location, right? And we also see that here I also look at it like a paperback. This so in that case I should search for ID equal to product subtitle, and if I get it, then I get it as a paperback 10th October 2022. So I should really search for what is the easier way to get it. Similarly, if you really look at, let's say, the price for it, okay, where is the price being displayed? There are so many places where the price is displayed. So let us see what are the locations where that price is displayed, right? So if I really look for that, there are 17 places, but of course, I'm more interested only within the content. So this is one place. So either I say class equal to this. Let me just check how many times this has come. If this has come only once, then I can very well utilize this one. No, but this is present at multiple places, right? It is giving 1475, 1800. So this is actually referring to something else, right? Where is that 1475 and 1800 coming up on this page? Yeah, somewhere here. It is actually referring to this location, right? People frequently bought kind of items. So probably if you really want to even bring that out, you can use this. Okay, but I'm not interested in that aspect. So basically, I want to look out for another location for a 3000. All right. Yeah, you could see here. Oh no. Probably you may want to look at A size base, A color price, and there also there is a 3000. Or there are various locations where, yeah, you can very well look at A size small, A color price. So if this probably let's search for a few more. So again I have A size small, or I can look out for A price whole and 3000, or A off screen. So whichever is the one that is coming only once, it's better to go with that. A off screen is actually coming up many a times, but A off screen, and if I take the text of that, I'll get my 3000. Or even if I take A price whole and I get the text of that, right? Let us see A price whole. It is showing me 3000, but A price whole, yeah, it is still showing me the same 3000. So I can either use a price whole also, not necessary A off screen, right? And I am getting the text. Similarly, if I want the ratings, then I have figured out the ACR customer review text. How did I figure out? Again, the same. So when I am going with this ACR, there are 29 ratings that have come. I could see the customer review text. So this is talking about, so I am going with the ID equal to ACR. So I am getting the text. I am either strip. So within the strip, I can very well do just like the way we have done earlier also. You can very well do a strip of this entire word rather than saying A to something. You can very well strip this entire word. You'll get the number 29. And similarly, if you want to go with the reviews, so probably I'm looking at this. So you see here, if I'm looking at the reviews, I'm not finding the reviews out here, right? They are looking very much blank. So you can very well, or probably you can look out for the reviews directly in the heading, right? So this 4.7, we want to know where exactly this 4.7 is there. Yeah, you see here, you can very well go with class A alt icon, right? Or you can very well, so probably let us see how many are there. No, there is something else coming up, 5 out of 5, and so many things are coming. So I cannot use a alt icon kind of a class, right? Then I would also search, or probably we can still use it because the first. So let us see a alt icon. Let's say if I want the rating, right? Number of ratings is that. So probably I want the rating is, so if I say soup2 dot find, right? I say find class equal to, and I go with a alt icon, a icon alt, right? I go with a icon alt, and I take the text of that, right? Then once I get the text of that, I strip whatever is there, all this text. I strip this text. This is what I call as the rat. You see, okay, we got it as 4.7 out of 5 stars. Some stripping did not happen. Okay, so I think something we'll have to see, but so that stripping should happen. So it is showing 4.7 out of the 5. So those ratings also can be obtained. Now, like that, you can very well see which information you definitely require, right? And probably you may want to pull out, let's say, how many pages are there, right? This 864 pages. I could see that this is the location. So you can very well talk about this particular class or this particular class. So these are the two locations, right? And if I have to really get a hold on it, a text bold, right? Or so probably sometimes referring to them would be a little bit more difficult, right? If I really want something like this, yeah, there are so many looks like. So this one cannot give me the benefit. So like this, you may have to actually search if something can give us a kind of a location, and based on that location you will have to find from the data, and that is what can give you a benefit, right? So this one, this div is not working out because there are multiple. Then you may have to again go with, so basically there is a list that is coming in here, right? There is a list that is coming in. So probably we may want to go with, this is one more list which is talking about language is English, then the number of pages. So probably we may have to explore a little bit more detail to bring out some information. But some of them may be more easier to be extracted, right? Probably you may want to bring out top reviews from India, and let's say you want to print some of these reviews. So like this, you may have to do a little bit of extra workaround, trying to search for the structures within the entire data, and based on that get access to them. So basically, just as a simplified scenario here, now I can get all this information for this particular book. Now probably if I have a list of URLs where, so as I told you earlier, if I have to click on each book and get all these details, then I may have to rely on Selenium. Probably Amazon wise, I can still get the information regarding the various pages of Amazon, etc., because I can use Selenium to click on the various links. So if I have 50 different books, I can click on the links of all the 50 books, and I can extract all these details associated with the book. Right. So this is how we can very well scrap the data. My intention is to just to showcase the various mechanisms that could be possible, at least the basic level of scraping of the data. Right. So this is one more application which I thought I should share with you, so you can typically try out on. Probably my suggestion would be to go with a few Wikipedia tables. You can very well look at, let's say, some scientist related tables or some singer related tables, So you can just go with them. So on that page, there are so many tables, and probably you should see different ways of extracting the information from them as such. All right. So this is what we have with respect to the web scraping. And so I think I'll take one more session. Probably we'll talk about recommender system, which is again probably an application of unsupervised learning. But in the today's world, probably that could be a very good value addition, right? People who have bought this also should buy these, or for a person who has watched a specific movie, these are the recommended movies. So, or a person who has bought a specific book, these are the recommended books. So, this is actually an application of clustering in some form, but I typically want to take one use case regarding that also. And with that, possibly we'll try to wind up our sessions altogether. So I'll specify one date where we can take up that topic, and in case someone requires some more topics, based on our comfort, we will plan them. But from my side, I'll take one more session, and in that session, I'll take you through the recommender systems